The nursery pulsed like a living heart, its tendrils lashing the cavern walls with thunderous cracks. Crimson light spilled across stone, drowning the faint violet that still tried to resist. Rourke fired relentlessly, blasting apart the guardians that crawled from the roots. Each one fell in a spray of ash, only to be replaced by another. "They're endless, Kael. If you've got a plan, now's the time." Lyra gripped the crystal, its resonance searing her veins. The blade it projected flickered wildly, half light, half shadow, unstable but burning with her intent. She forced herself to step closer to the monstrous core. The voices in her head grew louder, fractured cries, half-born things begging for release, for breath, for hunger. The nursery was birthing corruption with every beat. Her jaw tightened. "Then I'll stop its heart." The core sensed her approach. Tendrils whipped toward her, each strike shattering stone. She dodged, the resonance blade slicing arcs of violet through the air. The blade cut cleanly where it struck. Tendrils screamed and recoiled, burning away into ash. But every strike cost her. The crystal drained her strength, her body shaking under the resonance, her vision blurred, sweat running cold down her neck. Rourke's rifle barked again and again, his voice ragged with strain. "Kael, it's eating you alive. Fall back." She didn't answer, she couldn't. The crystal's voice filled her head, not the ship, not the anchors, but the memories she carried, voices of the lost, of the woman she had released, of the fragments she bore. They rose like a choir, steadying her steps. They were with her. She leapt forward, driving the blade deep into the root vein at the base of the core. The cavern exploded with sound, the roots screamed, 1,000 infant voices colliding in agony. Crimson light flared blindingly as the tendrils convulsed, tearing apart stone and metal. Rourke grabbed her arm, hauling her back as shards of burning crystal rained from the ceiling. "You've pissed it off." The core thrashed, but the resonance blade held. Violet light spread through the wound, splitting deeper into the root until at last, it severed. The cavern went still. The tendrils writhed one last time, then collapsed into ash. The guardians froze mid-motion before crumbling into lifeless dust. The heart of the nursery dimmed, its crimson fire extinguished. For a moment, there was silence. Then came the echo. It wasn't sound, it wasn't light, it was a shockwave of memory, bursting outward from the severed root. It tore through Lyra's mind, rattling her to the core. She saw worlds devoured, civilizations silenced, nurseries sprouting like spores across the galaxy. And then she felt it. The silence turned. It noticed her. The echo wasn't a death cry. It was a beacon, a warning to the rest. Rourke's hand squeezed her shoulder, steadying her as the cavern collapsed around them. "We've got to move now." Lyra stumbled, clutching the crystal. Her voice was hoarse, but steady. "We've cut one root, but now they know we exist." They sprinted for the surface as the mine caved in, the dead nursery collapsing into dust. Above them, the storm howled louder, as if the planet itself was mourning. Back aboard the ship, the crystal in Lyra's hand throbbed faintly, resonating with a new, sharper rhythm. Not just memory, not just voices, a challenge. The silence had felt her strike, and it would not forget. The ship rose from the collapsing mines, just as the last tremor split the surface apart. Dust storms raged behind them, swallowing the ruins of the colony in waves of red and gray. Inside, silence hung thick. Lyra sat at the central dais, the crystal cradled in her hand. It pulsed with a new rhythm, sharp, insistent, like a wound that wouldn't close. Every throb reverberated in her chest, carrying fragments of voices not her own. She heard them whisper, "She has struck us. She has hurt us. She must not remain." Her breath shivered, but she didn't let go. Rourke paced at the edge of the chamber, his jaw tight, his rifle still slung across his back. "I don't like it, Kael." That thing screamed loud enough to wake every monster in this sector. "You felt it, didn't you? They're coming." Lyra lifted her gaze. Her eyes were rimmed with exhaustion, but fire still lingered behind them. "Yes, I felt them turn toward us. We're not just ghosts in the dark anymore. We're prey." The ship's voice flickered into the silence, more strained than before. "Your strike severed one root. It will not regrow. But in wounding silence, you announced yourself to it. You are marked." Rourke muttered, Fantastic. Exactly what we needed. We poked the beast and now it knows our name. But the ship continued. Not only silence heard, others stir. Echoes long dormant feel your resonance. Survivors will seek you now. Not all will be whole. Some will beg. Some will curse. Lyra gripped the crystal tighter, her pulse racing. You mean other anchors, or fragments of them? Yes, the strike awoke them. Across void they stir. Not all want saving. Not all should be saved. Rourke shook his head. So let me get this straight. We didn't just make ourselves a target. We lit a damn beacon for every half-broken ghost in the galaxy. Great. That won't end badly at all. Lyra closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the voices inside the crystal. The broken woman she had carried from the mines stirred faintly within her memory, no longer screaming, only whispering. She spoke softly. Then let them come. If they're lost, we'll carry them. If they're corrupted, we'll free them. But we can't stop now. We've already started something bigger than us. The ship pulsed in uneasy agreement. The path ahead is heavier than you imagine. You carry fragments, not meant for one mind. The weight will bend you, break you. Perhaps that is silence's true victory. Her grip tight. Then I'll break before I stop. For a long moment, the chamber was quiet, but for the hum of the crystal. Then Rourke sighed, slumping into his seat, weariness dragging at his voice. You're insane, Kale, but fine. If this is the war, then we'd better choose our next battlefield carefully. Where to? The crystal answered before Lyra could speak. A projection unfurled across the chamber, stars shifting, threads of violet stretching outward. At their edge a faint flickering signal pulsed like a heartbeat. Lyra's breath caught. Not silence, not corruption, something else. A call. Rourke groaned. Another beacon, another mess. But the crystal thrummed with certainty. And for the first time since the nursery's fall, Lyra's lips curved in the barest of smiles. No, this one feels different. The path was. The signal drew them to the edge of a nameless system, its sun weak and fractured, shedding light like a dying ember. Their ship drifted into orbit around a shattered moon. Its surface was scarred with deep fractures, glowing faintly with violet light that pulsed in irregular bursts, like a heartbeat too weak to steady itself. Rourke studied the redouts, brow furrowed. That's not silence. At least, not yet. Lyra pressed a hand against the crystal. She could feel it faint, fragile but alive. It's an anchor, still intact, or close enough. The ship's voice hummed low. Signal unstable, fragment resisting corruption, but resisting you as well. Her stomach tightened. Resisting me. Not all anchors seek to be carried. Some choose silence over salvation. They descended onto the moon's surface. The air was razor thin, the ground brittle underfoot. Shards of crystal jutted from the soil like broken bones. And at the center of a crater, suspended within a cocoon of fractured light, stood the figure. The anchor, tall, humanoid. Its body flickered with violet energy, held barely in check. Unlike the half-broken one in the mines, this one's form was almost whole, but its eyes burned sharp, not hollow, not pleading, watching, judging. As Lyra approached, the anchor's voice rang in her mind, cold and precise. You severed a root. She froze. You felt it. The galaxy felt it. Silence stirred. You have marked us all. Rourke muttered under his breath. Told you lighting that beacon was a bad idea. The anchor ignored him, its gaze locked on Lyra. What are you, human, carrier of echoes, or thief of them? Do you collect us to remember, or to consume? The words hit harder than she expected. Lyra held the crystal tighter, forcing her voice steady. I carry them, to keep them alive, to stop silence from erasing them. The anchor's eyes flared. And when your mind breaks under their weight, when you scream as they screamed, will you ask to be carried too? Her throat tightened. She didn't answer. Rourke stepped forward, rifle at his side but voice firm. Listen, whatever you are, she's the only one out here even trying to fight silence. Maybe she's not perfect, maybe she's crazy, but she's all we've got. The anchor tilted its head, studying him as though he were an insect. You speak as if you are not afraid. Rourke's laugh was hollow. I'm terrified, but fear's better than apathy. The anchor's gaze returned to Lyra. The cocoon of light around it pulsed violently, almost breaking apart. If you would carry me, prove it. Do not take me. Let me choose. The crystal in Lyra's hand shuddered, resonating with the anchor's rhythm. She realized suddenly, it wasn't asking her to save it, it was asking her to open herself, to let it step into her willingly. Her breath quickened. If she opened the crystal fully, she wouldn't just be carrying echoes, she'd be sharing herself with them. No walls, no protection. Rourke caught her hesitation. Kale, you don't know what that'll do to you. But the anchor's voice pressed harder. If you are savior, then bear me. If you are thief, then consume me. Choose. Lyra closed her eyes. For a heartbeat, she thought of the broken woman she had carried from the mines. The weight of her sorrow, the nursery's cries, the silence turning toward her like a predator. And then she opened her. The crystal flared violently as the anchor stepped forward, dissolving into a stream of violet light that pierced through her chest. Pain seared through her mind as its memories crashed into her own. Whole cities, whole lives, endless songs that turned to silence. Her scream echoed across the crater. When the light dimmed, she stood trembling, breath ragged, but she was still standing. Rourke rushed to her side, gripping her arm. Kale, talk to me, or you. She raised her head slowly. Her eyes burned faintly violet. Her voice layered with two tones as she whispered, we are not broken. The crater went still. The anchor was gone, carried, but by choice, and Lyra was no longer just herself. The ship drifted in silence, stars burning cold beyond the viewport. Lyra sat at the dais, her hands clenched around the crystal. Its glow pulsed evenly, stronger than before, yet stranger too. Each beat carried not one rhythm, but two voices, two identities now bound together. Rourke stood by the console, his arms crossed, eyes fixed on her. He hadn't spoken since the crater. Finally he said, low and edged, you're not alone in there anymore, are you? She lifted her head slowly, her eyes still glimmered faint violet, faint human. When she spoke, her voice split hers, and another layered faintly beneath. We are. Rourke flinched. Gods. Kale, you sound like them. The second voice rippled through her calm, ancient, steady. Do not fear, we chose her. We are bound. Rourke's jaw tightened. That's exactly why I'm afraid. Lyra reached out, pressing a hand against the day. Rourke, it's still me. I can feel her. The anchor, but she didn't overwrite me. She joined me. I'm stronger now. We're stronger. His glare didn't soften. And what happens when the next one joins? And the one after that? At what point do you disappear? Her chest tightened. She didn't answer. The ship's hum broke the silence, its voice quieter than usual. The resonance within you is no longer singular. You are becoming chorus. Chorus may guide, chorus may consume. No one has ever carried this far. Lyra's hand trembled on the crystal. She wanted to believe she was in control, but when she closed her eyes, she saw more than her own thoughts. She saw flashes of another's memories, alien skies, songs sung in languages she didn't know, grief for children whose names weren't hers. She whispered, I won't disappear. I can't. They need me. The second voice stirred within, layered with hers. Need is truth, but balance is fragile. If we break, silence wins. Rourke slammed a hand against the console. Kale, listen to yourself. You're talking like them. Hell, you're talking like two of them. We can't win this fight. If I don't even know who the hell you are anymore. His words cut deeper than any wound. Lyra forced her voice steady, even as it trembled. Then trust me, even if I'm not just me anymore. Trust that I still choose this fight. Rourke looked away, breathing hard, his silence heavier than words. And then the ship shuddered. The lights flickered, as a wave of static surged through the systems. Outside, the stars themselves seemed to bend, crimson threads weaving faintly across the void. The silence had felt her, not just her strike, not just her beacon, but her change. The ship's voice hissed with static. They see you, they fear you, they hunger for you. Lyra clutched the crystal tighter, her voice a whisper, hers and another's, in harmony and unease. Then let them come. The warning came not from the ship, but from the crystal. Lyra was standing at the dais when its pulse shifted sharp, frantic, almost panicked. A second later the ship's alarms blared, projections flaring with crimson threads. They come, they have woven a net around you. Rourke cursed, throwing himself into the pilot cradle. Contacts everywhere, they weren't just watching, they were waiting. The viewport darkened as space itself bled red. Dozens of vessels slipped from the void, their forms jagged and unnatural, grown from the same corruption as the Guardians. They didn't move like ships, they flowed, tethered to each other by strands of crimson energy, forming a web around the system. Lyra's throat tightened. They're not here to destroy us, they want to take us alive. Rourke's glare cut toward her. No kidding. You lit up the void like a damn beacon, now they want their prize. The largest vessel pulsed, and the silence broke. Crimson beams lanced through the void, tearing at their shields. The ship groaned in protest, its systems flickering. They bind us, the ship warned. They will not kill, they will cage. Not happening. Rourke spat. He slammed the thrusters, weaving through the first barrage. Their ship jolted violently, slipping between strands of energy that snapped like whips across space. Lyra gripped the dais, the crystal burning in her palm. She could feel the net tightening, not just physically but psychically. Voices pressed in on her mind, hollow and endless. Come, belong, we will carry you. Her vision blurred. For an instant, she saw herself stepping willingly into their web, surrendering to their chorus. A horrifying temptation. No, she slammed her will into the crystal. Violet light burst outward, shattering the phantom voices. The closest enemy vessel shuddered as resonance waves cracked across its hull, fragments breaking away into ash. Rourke barked a laugh, fierce and strained. That's more like it. Keep burning them, Kale. But for everyone she struck, two more closed in. The net tightened, crimson threads constricting. Then the boarding attempt came. Hooks of living metal lashed from the nearest vessel, embedding into their hull. The ship screamed as corruption spread across its surface, crawling inward like veins. The lights flickered, doors sealed automatically. They breach. The ship warned, voice shaking. They seek her. Rourke, unstrapped, grabbing his rifle. Stay behind me. But Lyra shook her head, her grip tightening on the crystal. No, they don't want you. They want me. I have to stop them here. The corridor lights dimmed. Shadows writhed as figures emerged. Half machine, half void, their eyes burning crimson. They moved with purpose, not to kill, but to capture. Rourke raised his rifle. Over my dead body. The first wave lunged. The fight was chaos. Rourke's rifle barked fire, cutting down twisted forms, but more poured through the breach. The air reeked of burning metal and static. Lyra raised the crystal high. Resonance tore through the corridors, violet arcs blasting back the invader. But with each surge, her body weakened, the dual voice inside her fracturing under the strain. The silence pressed harder, their whispers breaking into words. You are already us. Stop fighting. Belong. Her knees buckled. For a moment she nearly yielded. Then Rourke's voice cut through, raw and furious. Kale, don't you dare give in. She met his eyes, and saw fear there, not just for her, but of her. The crystal flared violently. With one final scream, she unleashed a shock wave that shattered the boarding tendrils and hurled the invaders back into the void. The crimson net buckled, threads snapping. The silence retreated, not defeated, but waiting. Watch. The ship drifted free of the net, systems battered, hull scarred. Rourke slumped against the bulkhead, chest heaving. Lyra collapsed to her knees, the crystal dimming in her grip. Her voice, hers and the others, spoke in unison, hoarse but defiant. They cannot cage us. Rourke's eyes lingered on her, troubled, unreadable. Finally he said, low, maybe not, but Kale, how much longer before you cage yourself? She didn't answer. The stars outside burned cold and silent, but she could feel them, the silence still watching, still waiting. The signal came like a whisper. Lyra felt it first in her dreams, an echo threading into her mind, soft and mournful, calling her by name. When she awoke, the crystal was glowing faintly, humming with a resonance that was too familiar, too perfect. An anchor. Her heart leapt. Despite the exhaustion, despite the weight of her fractured self, hope surged. Rourke, it's another one. Another anchor. We can reach them. Rourke looked at her sharply. His face was hollow from sleepless nights, eyes bloodshot, jaw set. Or it's a trap. Did you already forget the net? They're adapting, learning how to bait you. It's not the same, she insisted. She could feel the pull, gentle but insistent, like a hand reaching through the void. It's real. They're alive. The ship's voice wavered, uncertainty rare in its tone, signal pattern, irregular, familiar resonance, but corrupted at origin. Distinguishing truth from deception is not possible. Rourke slammed a fist against the console. Then we don't go. Simple. But Lyra couldn't let go. The voice in her mind, fragile, desperate, was too real. It reminded her of the nursery, of the fractured woman she carried. If she ignored it, and it was real, she whispered, "I can't leave them." The signal drew them to a desolate asteroid field, the remnants of a shattered world. The rocks drifted silently, carved with crimson veins. At the center floated the anchor, or what was left of one. It was suspended in space, like a marionette, body hollowed, threads of crimson, weaving through its form. Its eyes glowed faintly violet, so faint, Lyra's chest ached. It was alive, but barely. As the ship drew closer, its voice filled her mind, soft and broken. "Carrier, please, carry me." Her knees buckled under the weight of it. It was too familiar, too raw. She reached instinctively for the crystal. Rourke grabbed her wrist, hard. "Don't you dare. Look at it, Kay. That's not alive. That's bait." The anchor's voice trembled, almost childlike. "Don't leave me. Don't leave me like they did." Tears burned her eyes. She could feel its pain, whether real or fabricated. It was unbearable. "Rourke, I can't just let it die." Rourke's grip tightened, his voice ragged. "If you open yourself now, you won't just carry it, you'll become it. That's what they want." The crystal in her hand pulsed violently, reacting to the anchor's resonance. The second voice inside her, the one she had already absorbed, spoke faintly. "This is not choice. This is chain." The anchor's body convulsed suddenly, threads of crimson erupting from its chest. The voice in Lyra's mind shifted, no longer desperate, but commanding. "Belong." The trap snapped shut. The asteroid field came alive, crimson threads weaving into a cage around their ship. The anchor was no longer pleading. It was pulling. Lyra screamed as the resonance tore at her mind, dragging her towards surrender. She saw visions of herself stepping into the void, becoming one with the chorus of silence, her individuality dissolving into their endless hunger. Her grip slipped. The crystal blazed. She felt herself tipping, ready to yield. And then, he shoved her back from the dais, shouting, voice breaking with desperation, "You're not them. You're you. Fight it, damn you." The jolt was enough. Lyra clutched the crystal, forcing her will into it. Violet light erupted, clashing with the crimson thread. The anchor screamed, not in sorrow but in rage, as its body disintegrated, unraveling into nothing. The net collapsed. The silence retreated, their whispers fading. Lyra collapsed to the floor, chest heaving, the crystal dim in her hands. Her whole body trembled with aftershocks. Rourke knelt beside her, his voice harsh but laced with fear. "You almost gave in, Cale. If I hadn't." She cut him off, whispering, her voice fractured with two tones. "I know, I almost wasn't me anymore." For a long moment, neither spoke. The stars outside drifted cold, indifferent. Finally, Rourke whispered, "They know how to break you now. Next time, I might not be enough." Lyra closed her eyes, the crystal heavy in her palms. "Then I'll have to be stronger." But deep inside, she knew the truth. The silence hadn't just tested her, they had marked her. And the next time, they wouldn't settle for failure. The ship drifted in darkness, hull scorched from the last encounter. No alarms, no threats, just the oppressive silence of space. Lyra sat on the floor of her quarters, the crystal clutched tight in her trembling hand. Its glow was faint, flickering like a dying ember. She whispered into it, her voice breaking. Was it real, that anchor? Did I kill them, or did I kill nothing at all? The dual voice within her stirred, gentle yet grave. Truth was twisted. What you carried would not have been light, it would have been cage. But the words did little to soothe her. She saw again the face of the false anchor, eyes pleading, voice begging, "Don't leave me." It had felt so real, real enough that she nearly gave everything. She pressed her forehead against the crystal. "I can't keep doing this. I don't know what's real anymore. The door hissed open. Rourke stepped inside, his presence filling the small space. He carried no weapon this time, just the weight of exhaustion. For a long moment he said nothing. Then quietly, "You scared the hell out of me back there." She let out a hollow laugh. "I scared myself too." Rourke leaned against the wall, arms crossed. His eyes softened, though the edge never left his voice. "Cale, you can't keep throwing yourself at every whisper in the void. If you break, this whole fight's over." "I know," she whispered, "but if I ignore them, and one of them is real, then I'm letting them die. Or letting yourself die." He shot back. Their eyes met, silence stretching between them. Finally, Rourke looked away, muttering, "You don't get it, do you? You're all we've got. If you go down, there's no backup." The words should have been comforting. Instead they felt like chains. That night, or what passed for night aboard the ship, Lyra dreamed. But it wasn't a dream. She stood in an endless plain of shattered glass. Stars reflected in every shard. Voices echoed around her. Not anchors. Not silence. Something older, deeper, carrier. The sound was vast, layered with countless tones. It wasn't asking to be carried. It was watch. You bear what was never meant for one mind. Fragments pull you. Fragments break you. You are chorus without harmony. Her chest tightened. Then tell me how to hold it together. Tell me how to fight them. The glass plane ripped. In every reflection she saw herself, but each reflection was different. Some with violet eyes, some with crimson, some with no humanity at all. Fight, or become. There is no Her reflection's lips moved in unison with her own, whispering the same words back at her. There is no middle. She woke gasping, the crystal burning hot in her hands. The ship's voice spoke softly from the walls. You dreamed, but the dream was not yours alone. Something vast has seen you. Lyra's heart hammered. Not silence, but not separate from them either. Perhaps, what silence was, before corruption. Her hands trembled. She had thought the silence were endless, unbroken. But if there was an origin, a fracture point, then maybe there was hope, or maybe she was being pulled into a deeper trap. Either way, the war had changed. The signal was faint, buried under layers of static. But it was there, an automated beacon pulsing weakly from the edge of a dead system. Rourke caught it first. That's not silence. Too old. Too clean. The ship confirmed. Beacon type archival. Origin unknown. Estimated age tens of millennia. Lyra's pulse quickened. Tens of millennia. Older than the silence as they knew it. Set course, she whispered. The station floated above a ruined world. Its surface scorched into glass. The structure itself was colossal. A ring of black metal orbiting the dead planet like a crown. Entire sections had collapsed into rubble, but parts still held, humming faintly with ancient power. As their ship docked with the fractured ring, the airlock groaned, seals breaking for the first time in untold ages. Inside, silence reigned. Dust floated in weightless clouds, disturbed by their every movement. The walls were etched with symbols, spirals and fractal lines that seemed to shimmer faintly when touched. Rourke's voice echoed in the emptiness. I hate this. Abandoned stations never end well. Lyra ignored him, her eyes fixed on the symbol. Something about them tugged at her memory like the dream in the glass plane. They found the archive at the station's core, a chamber lined with crystal obelisks, each glowing faintly, flickering like dying stars. When Lyra approached, one of the obelisks pulsed. A projection shimmered into the air. A figure, alien and tall, with crystalline veins running through its body. Its voice was distorted but clear enough. We sang together once, chorus without silence. But the song broke. Lyra's breath caught. She reached out instinctively. You're an anchor. The projection flickered, shaking its head slowly. We were what came before anchors. Before silence. We were the chorus. We carried each other, not alone. Harmony. Until fracture. Rourke frowned. Fracture? What kind of fracture? The figure's form distorted, its voice layered with static. One voice sought to lead. One voice grew louder than the rest. The harmony cracked, and in the breaking, silence was born. The word echoed through the chamber like a wound reopened.
Lyra staggered back, clutching the crystal in her hands. Silence wasn't always silence. It was part of them. The projection pulsed faintly, its light dimming. Anchors are fragments of what remains of us. You carry shards of the chorus, but the silence, it carries the wound. Rourke muttered, voice grim. So this war isn't us versus them. It's one broken thing, fighting itself. The projection trembled, its final words a whisper. To heal the chorus, you must face the first voice, the one that broke us. The light died. The obelisks went dark. The chamber returned to silence. For a long moment, Lyra couldn't breathe. Her chest ached with the weight of it. If silence was born from the chorus, then every anchor she carried was part of that same wound. And if the first voice still existed, she whispered, it's not about carrying them anymore. It's about finding the one who broke them. Rourke's face hardened. And if you find them, she tightened her grip on the crystal, then I end.
The corridors beyond the archive were darker, narrower, their walls warped as though by heat or pressure long ago. Lyra and Rourke moved cautiously, their helmets casting pale cones of light across fractured surfaces. Strange patterns shimmered faintly in the walls, like veins of crystal running with faint red and violet glow. Rourke muttered, I don't like this. Feels like the place is breathing. The ship's voice whispered through their comms. Residual energy detected. Be alert. Something still stirs here. They entered a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows. At its center floated a crystalline monolith, cracked but still burning faintly with light. Unlike the obelisks in the archive, this one radiated unease. Its light pulsed irregularly, too much like a heartbeat struggling against death. As Lyra stepped closer, the crystal flared, and a voice filled the chamber. Little carrier. The sound wasn't like the anchor. It wasn't pleading, or broken. It was whole, resonant, heavy with power. Rourke raised his rifle instinctively, though he knew bullets would do nothing. Kale, step back, now. But she couldn't. Her body locked. Her pulse raced. The voice reverberated inside her skull, inside the crystal she held, even inside the fragments she carried. You bear shards of us. You think you mend. But you only deepen the fracture. Lyra forced her voice out, shaking. You're the first voice. Laughter rippled, cold and endless. An echo of it. A shadow left behind. The truth would break you, little carrier. Even I, hollow as I am enough to unmake you. The crystal in her hand blazed, reacting violently. Her own dual voice trembled, rising unbidden. We do not break. We carry. The echo thundered. You already break. Look at yourself. One voice, two voices, soon 10, 100. Until you are no longer Kale, but a chorus without name. The silence will not take you. You will become it. The chamber rippled. Lyra's vision split, fragments of herself scattering like glass shards across the floor. She saw herself as a child, as the woman who died in the mines, as the violet-eyed anchor she had carried, as the false anchor who begged to belong. Dozens of selves, each with different eyes, different voices, all whispering. Which one are you, Kale? Which one is real? Her hands shook. I'm still me. The echoes laughed in unison. Are you, or are you just what remains when everything else has been carried? Her knees buckled. Rourke's shout cut through, raw and desperate. Kale, look at me, not them. She lifted her eyes. He stood firm in the flickering chamber light, rifle braced, though it shook in his hands. His voice was ragged, but unwavering. I don't care how many voices are in your head. You're still Kale. You're the one who dragged me out of a dying world. Remember, the one who won't give up, even when it kills her. That's who you are, not them. His words pierced the haze. The fragments wavered, faltering like shadows under light. Lyra clutched the crystal, forcing every ounce of will into it. Her own voice, hers and the second, rose together. Steady now. We are Kale, and we do not belong to you. The monolith screamed. The echo shattered, its form collapsing in a burst of crimson and violet shards. The chamber went still, silence rushing back like a void swallowing itself. Lyra collapsed to her knees, gasping. Sweat ran down her face inside her helmet, her body trembling from the strain. Rourke rushed to her side, pulling her upright. His eyes searched hers, still faintly glowing violet. "You with me?" She nodded weakly. For now, but deep inside she knew the truth. The echo hadn't been wrong. She was breaking, and the more she carried, the closer she came to becoming the very thing she fought. And somewhere beyond the stars, the true first voice was waiting. The chamber was silent now, the monolith shattered into shards that drifted weightless in the air. But the silence didn't last. The walls groaned, crimson light spread through the fractures in the station, veins of corruption racing outward like fire in dry grass. The ship's voice crackled in their helmets, warning structural integrity compromised, containment breach imminent, station collapse probability, 91%. Rourke swore under his breath, hauling Lyra to her feet. "Time to go, Kale. Now." Lyra staggered, her limbs heavy, vision blurred from the psychic assault. But she forced herself forward. "It's waking up. The whole station. It's turning into that." The corridors twisted as they ran, walls warping, crystal veins bursting with crimson glow. Shadows rippled along the surfaces, stretching into jagged forms that clawed at them. Rourke fired bursts down the passage, each shot tearing through writhing limbs. But they kept reforming. "They're not even solid. They're echoes," Lyra gasped, clutching the crystal. "Not real, not fully, just fragments." "Feels real enough," Rourke muttered, shoving another aside with his rifle butt. The path ahead split, one corridor stable but dark, the other glowing faintly violet, pulsing in rhythm with the crystal. Lyra froze. "Left. We have to go left." Rourke glanced at her, skeptical. "That's the one that looks like a damn throat about to swallow us." "I can feel it," she insisted, her voice layered faintly with the anchor inside her. "The right leads nowhere. Left takes us back." His jaw tightened. Every instinct screamed not to trust it. But there was no time. The walls behind them were collapsing into molten crystal. "Fine," he growled. "Lead the way." They plunged left. The corridor pulsed with violet and crimson light, like veins of two forces battling for dominance. Lyra pressed forward, every step heavy with the pull of voices trying to drag her off balance. One whisper rose above the others, cruel and familiar. "Every step you take, you carry us closer. You will never leave this place. You are this place." Her legs faltered. For an instant she saw herself fused into the wall, her body hollow, her voice just another endless chorus. Rourke grabbed her arm, yanking her forward. "Stay with me, Kale. Don't listen. I can't shut them out," she whispered. "Then let me be louder," he snapped. His grip tightened, grounding her. One step at a time. Move. They burst into the docking ring, just as the station groaned, entire sections tearing free into space. Their ship's airlock loomed ahead, glowing faintly with safety lights. But between them and escape, the shadows gathered, forming into a single massive figure. A guardian, born not from silence, but from the station's dying core. Its body was crystalline, cracked, its eyes burning with fractured red and violet light. It raised a jagged arm, blocking their path. Rourke raised his rifle. "Of course. Because it's never easy." The guardian spoke in a voice that was many, yet one. "Carrier. Do not flee. You cannot outrun yourself." Lyra's heart hammered. She raised the crystal. "Then I'll burn my way out." Violet light erupted, clashing with crimson. The chamber shook, shards raining down as the guardian roared. Rourke dragged her forward, firing into the cracks the crystal created. Together they forced their way through, the guardian staggering under the onslaught. One last surge. Lyra screamed as the crystal flared, and the guardian shattered into fragments that dissolved into nothing. They stumbled into the ship just as the docking ring collapsed behind them. The ship tore free of the station, engines roaring. Behind them, the entire structure convulsed, its ring breaking apart, collapsing into the dead planet below. Lyra slumped into the dais, chest heaving, hands trembling around the crystal. Rourke dropped into the pilot's seat, sweat dripping down his face. For a long moment, only their ragged breaths. Then Rourke muttered, almost to himself, "You were right about the path.
Lyra looked at him, weary but steady. You trusted me. He didn't answer immediately. His eyes lingered on her faintly glowing irises, the not quite human resonance in her voice. Finally, he said, I trusted, enough. And that was all. The stars stretched endless outside the viewport, the wreckage of the collapsed station, burning faintly in the distance like embers fading into the void. Inside the ship, silence pressed heavy. No alarms, no gunfire, no voices but their own breaths. After everything, the stillness felt alien. Rourke sat in the pilot's chair, staring blankly at the stars. His knuckles were white on the armrest. Never again, he muttered. I'm done with haunted station. Lyra sat cross-legged, near the dais, the cracked crystal balanced in her palms. Its light pulsed faintly in rhythm with her own heartbeat. Her eyes glowed with a soft violet that didn't fade, not even after hours away from the station. The silence between them stretched. Finally, Rourke broke it. You're getting worse. His voice wasn't cruel, just blunt, tired. Lyra flinched, but didn't look up. I know, you barely made it out of there. That thing almost took you. And when you lit up, he exhaled sharply. It wasn't just you anymore. Her fingers curled around the crystal. The words she had been holding back pressed harder against her chest. At last she whispered, I think I'm going to become one of them. Rourke's head snapped toward her. Don't say that. It's true. Her voice shook, layered faintly with the resonance of the anchors she carried. Every time I take another shard, another voice, I lose more of myself. That echo, she shuddered. It wasn't wrong. One day, I won't be Kale anymore. I'll just be silence wearing my face. Rourke slammed a fist against the console. The sound cracked through the quiet. No, I've seen what they are. You're not that. You don't understand, she said, finally meeting his gaze. Her eyes glimmered with both fear and defiance. It's not about what I want. It's about what's happening. You saw it. You felt it. I'm breaking. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of the ship was the only sound. Then Rourke leaned forward, elbows on his knees, voice low but steady. Then let me make you a promise. If that day comes, if you ever stop being Kale, I'll be the one to end it. Her chest tightened. The words cut, but they were honest. Honest in a way no one else could be. And until that day, he continued, I'll fight like hell to keep you. Lyra's throat closed. She wanted to argue, to reject it, but instead tears pricked at her eyes. She turned her face away, ashamed of the weakness. But Rourke didn't push further. He just sat beside her, solid and unflinching, as if daring the entire void to try and take her. Slowly, she whispered, I don't want you to have to keep that promise. His answer came without hesitation. Then don't give me a reason to. The crystal pulsed faintly in her hands, like a heartbeat that wasn't hers alone. For the first time she didn't try to silence, because maybe fighting wasn't about denying the fracture. Maybe it was about choosing again and again to stay herself in spite of it. The ship drifted on silent engines through an uncharted sector. The stars sparse and cold. Lyra sat on the dais, eyes closed, the cracked crystal in her hands glowing faintly against her palms. Her breathing slowed, matching its rhythm, until the pulse wasn't hers, wasn't the anchor's. It was both. A whisper emerged through the static of her mind, weak, faint, but unmistakable. Hell. Her eyes snapped open. Rourke looked up from the console, jaw tight. That was another one, wasn't it? She nodded. An anchor, farther than the others, almost drowned out. But it's there. The ship's AI chimed, voice sharp, vector traced, signal origin located. Warning: hostile presence in surrounding region is extreme. Hostile how? Rourke muttered. The display bloomed with light. Not one signal, not 10, but hundreds. Shapes drifting together in formation. Not metal, not constructed. Living. Lyra's breath caught. A fleet. They dropped into the outer edges of the system, the ship cloaked in shadows of a shattered moon. Before them stretched an impossible sight. A fleet of silence constructs, each vessel half organic, half crystalline, their surfaces shifting like skin. Some were the size of battleships, others smaller, darting in swarms, Together they moved as one, a hive breathing in unison, pulsing with red and violet light. At the center floated something larger than them all, a leviathan, not a ship, not a station, a womb. Its surface was translucent and inside, shapes twisted, growing, being born. Work whispered, voice hoarse. They're building more of themselves. The AI confirmed, tone grim. Classification, living fleet, function, replication, and expansion. Probability of anchor presence within 97%. Lyra pressed closer to the viewport, her violet-tinged eyes wide. The anchor's voice pulsed faintly in her mind, lost in the chorus of silence, but still distinct. They're holding it inside, she whispered. The fleet, it's carrying an anchor, like a prisoner. Then we can't just leave, Work said, already knowing where this was going. She turned toward him, her voice steady but urgent. If I don't take it, they will, and when they do, it'll be gone forever, consumed into the... Work rubbed his face, exhaling hard. You realize what you're asking? That's not a nest, Kale. That's an army, a breathing army. I know, she said, but I can feel it. If we lose this one, we lose more than just a voice. We lose hope. The fleet shifted, its hundreds of vessels turning in eerie unison, as though aware of the intruder lurking at the edge of their system. The Leviathan pulsed, releasing a wave of energy that rippled through space, scanning. The ship's AI spoke in a whisper, almost human now. They know we are here. Work's hands clenched around the controls. Then we'd better decide fast. Run, or dive straight into the mouth of hell. Lyra's fingers tightened on the crystal. Her eyes glowed, resolve hardening. We dive. The anchor is waiting.